I don't remember if the script had been floating around or what the status of the script was in Hollywood. I do remember reading the material when it came to me. My representative said, "This is a script, it's a great script, and Miramax is involved and they want you to do it." And so I read it, and that was a very simple attraction to that piece of material, because Scott Rosenberg, the writer's script, was very unique, and really there was a real unique voice that he still has. He said he picked that up based on a song called "Things to Do in Denver When You're Dead," and kind of set it there. But yes, absolutely, the words, the slang, the manner in which these people spoke was very unique to Scott Rosenberg,
Hey. Both drinks. Both drinks.
But working with Chris Walken was, a highlight of my acting career. I'm such a fan of Chris's, and have a chance to play with him, and seeing him play that character, and having the ability to have a history with him, as characters, it was very special. It was very special to work with Chris. He was wonderful, and as we were starting the movie, Chris said, "Come to the chateau and we'll run some lines." He was staying at the Chateau Marmont on Saturday, because we had long scenes, I said, "Great, let's do it." So we came into the thing, and he was in his robe and slippers, walking around. We sat down, we had some tea, and we started running the scene, but he was doing the scene in a German accent. And I said, "Chris, are you gonna do this character with a German accent?" Because he said, it seemed like he's an Italian guy, He said, "No, I like to run lines as a German sub-commander." And I said, "Okay." And then there was another moment where we did our first scene where I'm at his house, and he's telling me saying hello to me and saying, "I need you to do this action and this and that." And he was in his wheelchair, his character was completely paralyzed, and he could only move his head, and he would blow himself around the room by blowing in a little tube. And as he was talking, he was going, "Jimmy, why? And he would move his shoulder a little bit. So after the first take, Gary came up to him, the director, Gary Fleeter, said, "That was great, Chris, but you're moving your shoulders as you talk, and this character doesn't have any movement." And I remember sitting there going, "Okay, here we go." What's the response gonna be, and how is the director gonna handle it, kind of thing, right? Chris said, "He has a little movement," and kind of Gary went like, I didn't know what to say back to him, So I kind of interject, because I saw he was a little bit on the spot, And I said, "Gary, nobody reads the script before they see the movie. So if he has a little movement, he has a little movement. He's still paralyzed, he's in a chair, he's blowing himself around, can't lift his arms, but maybe he's got a little, from here up, and maybe he's a little residual." And I said, "Don't worry about it, it's gonna be fine." Chris is such an expressive actor, and he's so wonderful in the movie to watch him as that character, and so spontaneous working with him, And I love the idea that the relationship starts that Jimmy comes in and he's totally sort of under his spell, that that he was a prodigy. He says to him, "Back in the day, you brought a modicum of class to the operation." Again, it says Scott Rosenberg. "You brought a modicum of class to the operation. That's why I always liked you," kind of thing. You can tell that he has a soft spot for Jimmy to a certain degree. But Jimmy knows that having a relationship with this guy, he's working him, So he knows what's coming down the pipe. He's just trying to be at his best behavior and not try to upset this guy, because he knows this guy can go off the rails real quick, and he owes him money, so he has to do this action that certainly, turns into a disaster. As the movie progresses, this kind of lighthearted banter between the man with the plan, Chris, and my character, Jimmy, which is a little bit lighter in tone, begins to get really heavy and dark, and some heavy shit happens.
Hey, I ever tell you about Jimmy the Saint Tazi, Flatbush? In his day, bitches bastard.